This is no disrespect. But right now we got a special guest with us. For those of y'all who are aware, great. For those of y'all who aren't, I'll introduce her really quick. But Leanna Bumblebee Cruz, she's 9-0. She's fighting at 115 pounds, but I don't want to spoil everything. So, Leanna, first of all, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
For sure, for sure. So, look, I'm aware of who you are. We're doing this today because we want a lot more people to be aware of who you are. So, why don't we start with, why don't you just tell us where you're from?
So I'm from Allentown, PA, but I train out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've only been boxing for 5 years, but I've been pro for three. Um, I have no amateur experience. Signed with Split T and Overtime Boxing.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, what, I guess my question is, what got you into boxing? Because you said you had no amateur experience. So, what actually led you to become professional?
Um, well, I remember I beat a girl up at a bar, and the following weekend I was told to try boxing. And after one day of like being in the gym, I remember going back and telling everyone like, "Oh, I want to go pro. Like I'm gonna go pro," and the rest is history.
Yeah, so I spent 10 years of my life in the Lehigh Valley. So, I'm really familiar with
Oh,
Allentown.
okay.
Yeah, that whole area. What bar were you fighting at?
Tally ho, tally
Yeah,
ho.
Grant, you hear that, Grant? We got a friend who's got a couple dubs at Tally Ho too.
Yeah, no, I got banned from Broadway when Broadway was open, Tally ho, and Molly's.
You a legend. Lehigh
Yeah.
Valley legend right here. No doubt. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, we have a good friend who wasn't smart enough to go pro, but he's got a couple dubs at Tally Ho too. So we'll definitely share that with him. So look, obviously you're from the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah.
You're Puerto Rican. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about that? What does it mean for you to represent and put on for the Lehigh Valley? And of course your Puerto Rican roots.
It means like everything to me, everywhere where I come from when it comes to like not just me being born and raised in Allentown, but um having that Puerto Rican blood, like, being a representative of who Puerto Rican people are. And, Google didn't miss when they say, Puerto Rican people are perfect, because I mean, look at us.
Facts, facts.
But no, it means everything to me. I I have a lot of pride being Puerto Rican, and honestly being from the Lehigh Valley. And even though it's small, it's not somewhere you would be like, oh, I want to go take a vacation or go see, or even really someone's like, I want to live there. I take a lot of pride in being from there. And um, you know, uh, just being in that kind of environment, and the suburban and the city area, seeing both sides of what life could really look like. So it holds a deep root into my heart for sure.
Yeah, no, I was excited when I first came across your story, the fact that you were a fighter, and I'm gonna tell you in a second how I came across that, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, it's dope. It's definitely dope to have somebody popping out of Lehigh Valley. Lehigh Valley is known mainly for wrestlers. Like it's got
Yeah.
a great, did you ever wrestle?
No, but like
Oh,
I
okay.
had a strength and conditioning coach, and he had the whole like wrestling facility for like the Lehigh athletes. And I guess now they run like a whole program at like his gym. So I never knew how big wrestling was until I started going to Matrix.
Yeah, it's huge in the Lehigh Valley. So, every time there's a boxer, I know Joe Adorno, he's from out there. Obviously, you put it on. I think that's dope. Let me tell you how I came across. So one day I'm just scrolling on Instagram and I see this girl. She got a Puerto Rican top on. She's in the face off and she's popping hella shit. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, who's this? So I started doing my research and I became aware of who Leanna Cruz was. But just talk to us about that because I think, look, I do a lot of fights. I cover probably every major event. Um, I've covered every major event in the United States, most of them for the last year and a half. And I can tell you, that it lacks like it's a lot of kumbaya, a lot of I'm excited to fight you. What gives you that fire? Like, was that specifically that girl, or it's on site for everybody?
So remember how I told you how I started boxing? I beat a girl up at a bar and then was told to box. Um, that girl, I actually told her for it was like 2 years after the beef was over, but I told her like when I see you, like like you already know what's coming for you. I don't matter what time it is, when it is, it doesn't matter. But this last girl, I'm a competitor. And that's something a lot of people don't take the best way because of my competitive nature. Like, I don't care what we're doing, if we're playing rock, paper, scissors, shoot, if we're bowling, like, I want to win by any means. So, like, I think just having that competitive edge is what gives me that, like, fire, like, and that, the work ethic that I have to, make sure that I'm the best no matter what. I think me being a competitor at heart, is what really pushes me to be like spicy and work really, really hard.
Yeah, nah, look, it's great. I think the ability to sell yourself as well as be a great fighter, they're equally important because there's a lot of great fighters that we never figure out because they get the opportunity and sometimes, they don't make the most of it. But I thought that was great. Keep it going as far as hopping your shit, Leanna, is definitely dope to see.
Thank you.
So I know you're welcome. I know you've been in boxing for just a few years, but just wanted to pick your brain a little bit. Is there anybody notable boxing wise, trainer wise that you've done work with that we would know about?
As far as like sparring, or do you mean like
Sparring,
literally anything?
training. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I did met work with one of my favorite fighters before, Jarron Ennis. I've been
Okay.
at his gym a lot of times. I used to spar a lot of the girls that were over there when they had girls that were my weight. Um, I've worked with Kaylee Reese. Um, I worked with Ebony Bridges. I worked with Marlena Esparza. Um, I worked with Joanna Wanwu. I think I'm saying her name right. Um, from London or France. Trying to think of who else I worked with that's notable. I worked with Nat Dove. I worked with Jacqueline McTemmy. Hmm.
That's a long list. That's a long
Yeah.
list. So
Yeah, no, I worked with a lot of good names. I've gotten a lot of experience, like, from not having any amateur experience. A lot of my experience comes from like gym wars and, traveling and putting myself out there against people that have the experience that I don't.
got you. So what was the work with Boots like, and what were your thoughts on his last fight?
The work with Boots, it was cool because it was like super surreal. Like when I first started boxing, maybe like a year in, I remember like watching him and like being so infatuated with his style. And what you see on TV from him is what you get. Like, he's super humble, super approachable, very sweet, and he definitely gave me a lot of pointers, and he's very respectful about it. And I like him as a fighter, and I like him as a person. His last fight, I thought the guy put up a better fight than I expected. Um, and that's not taking anything away from Boots. I think it's just giving the other guy more credit, and people aren't even realizing like that kind of also showed like Boots can take a shot, like, and still give one and remain calm, because it's really easy, especially in the sport, to let your emotions get the best of you, especially when you do get hit with a good shot and you feel like you got to get it back like right away. I think it definitely showed how mature he's gotten. Um, but I think I really do think he's one of the best fighters in the world. He's for sure one of the most skilled fighters in the world. I just think that the guy that he was fighting, I don't even think he expected that type of performance from him either.
Got you. Got you. And you said you worked with Ebony Bridges, right?
Yeah.
Well, so we're definitely friends of Ebony's here on Fight Hype. What was that work like?
So I actually found my manager, Brian Cohen, because I sparred Ebony. So I worked with Ebony for almost like maybe like 6, 7 months straight, constantly sparring her. And like, it's crazy because if you've ever seen Ebony in person, she's so tiny. She
Hmm.
hits like a grown man. Like she hits like a grown man. Like, I remember the one time she hit me with a body shot in 16-ounce gloves, and I felt it for like 3 days after. And I'm like, yeah, you would never think that sweet girl who's pretty and all that can punch like that. Like, she hits like a grown ass man. But it was really good work from her. I learned a lot from her style, and she's paved even a way for women, in a sense of like, you can still be sexy and still put on like and still be a fucking dog. So I admire her a lot, and I love her resiliency, because the other thing that people don't really look into is like her backstory. And If you really look into her and get to know who she is, like you have way more respect for her, not just as a fighter, but as a person.
Yeah, she's definitely a hustler. She's definitely a hustler. That's what's up. That's what's up. And I would have never thought I've never got punched by Ebony. Hope never to get punched by Ebony. But yeah, the same could be said of yourself, unassuming, but definitely go in there and get it popping, right? So
Yeah.
your last fight was in September.
Yeah.
I was looking and seeing what you had coming up. It looks like something maybe tentatively scheduled for January, but can you confirm when we're going to see you again?
January.
January for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I was gonna take a break until like March, but like I'm so addicted to this life that I was like, Coach, let's fucking fight. So I'm back in January.
Let's get it. So, over time, who you're working with. You've got some stable mates there that I'm just curious about your thoughts on. And I don't know how much you're aware or not aware, but Tiara Brown and Sky Nicholson, they kind of been lining up to fight. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I think Sky Nicholson is gonna do what she does best and run for her life in that ring. But I think Tiara has the skill and the power to make it a good fight. And like the one thing that I don't like about the whole back and forth is that Sky's not giving Tiara any credit, and it's the things that she's saying about her really shows her privilege in the sense of like, because everyone's road in this is so different. Like you can't compare two fighters, and just because they have amateur experience or they came from the same gym, they're going to have the same pro career. Just boxing's not like that. And Sky has a very decorated amateur career, and what she's done in the pros um, has only happened as quick as it did is because of her amateur career and because she has a huge team behind her. Tiara didn't come from any of that. So, and Tiara has to put in extra work, and people aren't even seeing that. And Sky's still running from that because she knows like that kind of grit. She's never fought anyone with the grit that Tiara has. And I think that's going to be the separating point in that fight. Um, and I respect both of their hustles for sure. And I think they're both great fighters and they're both talented in their own ways. I just think Tiara's the better fighter.
Nah, for sure. Shout out to T Baby. That's my girl. She's actually gonna talk soon. She was hitting me up earlier. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah. Have you ever done work with Tiara? I know she's obviously a lot heavier than you in terms of weight class, but no
No,
work?
because she's in Florida. So like it's
Yep.
like a little harder for me now, especially to get work that's around like my weight.
Yeah, yeah. No, I got you. Cool. Switch. What essentially may end up being the biggest fight in women's history. And so we get a bigger fight. It went down. I don't got to ask you what you thought because we know where your loyalty lies. But what do you think about it? Just what are your thoughts about it?
So it's crazy because I actually went and I watched it, like full attention on it today. I when I first watched it, the stream was so bad I didn't see a full round.
Shout out
Um
to Netflix.
yeah, shout out Netflix. Like I was so mad because I was so hyped for that fight, but I didn't really get a chance to watch it in depth and I was only watching it in parts. And the parts that I did get to see, I thought Katie was winning. But then again, I didn't see the whole thing. And then when I was just watching it, it was really tight. And um, I do think the headbutts could have like played a role into the outcome and like why Amanda wasn't letting her hands go even more like she normally does. Um, but I also feel like that's just a thing that happens with Southpaw and Orthodox constantly in that kind of foot battle. Um, and Katie's super on her toes and explosive and does that in and out kind of movement. So I don't think it was like a dirty tactic or anything like that. I don't think she meant to purposely do that. Um, I loved the fight though. I love that Amanda broke a record. There's a lot of blessings that have been coming her way, and she really deserves it because, like I was just saying about TR Brown, Amanda was another one that didn't have a strong team behind her, and now is finally getting not only the recognition but the pay that she's deserved for a very long time. Um, and the best part about her story is that she was still willing to continue doing what she's been doing without the money.
Hmm.
So, that just says a lot about her and the way she holds her head up in defeat and the way she holds her head up when she wins. It's very graceful and it's a beautiful thing to watch, whether she's successful or she's not in a fight. I just really enjoy um, what she's done for the sport and what she's been doing for the sport. So just watching it to me really feels like an honor.
Nah, for sure. Now, I think I assumed, so maybe I shouldn't have done that. Who do you think won the fight? Because I'm confused.
So like I said, I didn't watch it in full depth until today, and I thought Katie won.
Ooh,
I thought Katie won.
okay,
I thought
okay.
Katie won. But again, it
Yeah,
was another thing where if Katie didn't win, then I was gonna be okay with the draw. I think Amanda did better the first fight, and
there
I
you
think
go.
she should have won that fight over this last one. To me it looked like she got a little more frustrated. And again, headbutts could have been a thing as to why she wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say like she's going to fight every fight the same because you're not. You're not even fighting
Mhm.
the same person every time. So there's going to be a lot of differences in every fight, but I thought Katie edged it off with her boxing because yeah, Amanda was pushing the fight and pressing the fight, but not a lot of the times was it effective aggression to me. Um so I want a third fight, but I just think Amanda won the first one. I think Katie won this one. I'm cool with a third fight, but I really, really want to see Chantel Cameron and Katie Taylor again.
Nah, listen, I appreciate your candor. I appreciate you keeping it real because I, like me, they say don't assume, right? So I think I did that, and I probably made an ass of myself. I just assumed you was gonna say, yeah, Amanda won. Like all us crazy other Puerto Ricans, right?
It's okay.
But we don't all have to think the same way. Let me ask you this though. So, CopyBox says Amanda outlanded her by 100 punches. Just doing some simple math. Women's championship fights are 20 minutes long, 10 rounds, 2 minutes apiece. Men's championship fights are 36. Do you think Katie would have lasted if they would have fought those extra 16 minutes like Amanda was calling for? If they would have
No,
fought 12 3-minute rounds?
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Amanda has this style, and it's she's been able to do it in 2 minute rounds. It's just when you go with that kind of elite competition, taking someone out the way Amanda takes girls out is going to be a lot more difficult. Amanda wears her opponents down and breaks them down and then overwhelms them. And especially because she has time on her side, she's able to do so. Now, if it was 3 minute rounds, I don't think Katie Taylor was getting out of the eighth.
Got you. Do you agree with 3-minute rounds for women's boxing? Or are you
Yeah,
cool with two?
I actually called to have my next fight in January for 3 minutes because I don't have any stops. I've dropped I think three opponents, but I don't have any stops, and I think I have not. I think I know I have the same type of style of taking women out the way Amanda does of wearing them out. And my conditioning's crazy, so I think I'll have more stops if I have 3 minute rounds, and I'm even willing to take the 2 minute pay and do the 3 minute rounds just to prove a point and show like, women deserve this kind of platform because we do have exciting fights and you will see more stops. Like a lot of people don't take into consideration that women give birth and give life and how much pain do they go through. So those one punch knockouts are really rare in women's boxing. And I think that's another reason why we don't see a lot of knockouts because it's 2 minute rounds. Like women give birth for hours. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you gotta,
You gotta work a little bit harder.
yeah, yeah. So
Got you. Got you. Before you got on the chat, Leanna, I was in a spirited debate about who's the GWOAT. There's a lot of talk about this, right? Amanda went online, always humble, but sometimes on Twitter, we're all human. She likes to share what she really thinks. And she said she is the Canelo of women's boxing. Who do you think is the GWOAT in women's boxing today?
are you calling Canelo the GOAT?
Well, women's boxing. So the GWOAT, which is a term, right? You put that W in there, popularized by Clarissa Shields, greatest
Yeah.
women of all time, right? Greatest woman of all time. But who would you consider the GWOAT of women's boxing today?
I can agree with her saying she's the Canelo of women's boxing. I don't think Canelo's the GOAT though. So do you
Okay, that's
understand why I'm trying to say it like that?
who do you think is the GOAT of men's boxing?
So hard. I really think it's Terrence Crawford. I
Ooh, okay, you
really
got
think it's Terrence Crawford.
salute, salute. I'm a Bud fan. My fans, people that rock with me, they know that. So it's you
Yeah.
know it's hard for me to disagree with you. So then it just leads me into another segue. You think Terrence is the GOAT. You rock with Boots. That's a fight that's been in line. How do you see that fight going? And I hate to make it tough for you. What do you think?
At 47 or 54?
Well, Terrence fights at 54, so I think it would have to happen there if it was going to happen at all.
I think the one thing that Crawford has over Boots is like that experience of like really, really high level talent in front of him. And um I think the thing that Boots has over Bud is his youth and athleticism. I think his reflexes are faster than Bud. But I think you can't, like, for me that's such a hard fight because the way Terrence Crawford adapts, it's like he's one of those people you just can never count out no matter what, no matter who he's up against. Um and now Boots hasn't faced anybody even close to Crawford, but neither has Crawford. But I think Crawford has been in there with just tougher guys and that kind of, and been on that kind of stage where um he's more likely to get the job done. It's just, for me, I really see it as like 50-50.
Now, respect. And I know that's hard for you to answer having your relationships and obviously your preference as far as who you think is the GOAT. So I appreciate it. But I don't think you told me who's the GWOAT. Who do you think
Oh
is the
yeah.
GWOAT?
So um I really think it's Clarissa Shields. I really do. And I say that because you just can't knock accolades. I mean, she's became undisputed in, like, I think faster than Lomachenko, right?
Yeah, I know she's undisputed in multiple weight classes for sure.
And I think but I think it was faster than Lomachenko. And then her going, like, her fighting all the way from 154 to was it 205?
Yeah, heavyweight.
That's unheard of, insane. Like, and then I, I think she and her having a gold medal, like, I don't know, I just feel like her accolades just speak for itself. And um I think she gets frustrated that people don't give her credit. um I do think Amanda Serrano is one of the greatest women of all time. I think she's, again, the Canelo of women's boxing, where she's making history and paving a way. And um she's still one of the greatest. I just think Clarissa Shields, because of everything she's accomplished, it outweighs Amanda Serrano. Because it's between them two no matter what. And I'd pick Clarissa Shields as the GWOAT of women's boxing.
Respect, respect. Now, before I get you out of here, I definitely want to address with you your future. So, look, your division, it's funny because in your weight class, right? I mean, I feel like you're pretty much right in line to get to where you need to be to a title shot. Very quickly. I mean, one of the champs at that weight class is Mizuki Hirata. She's from Japan. She's just 6-0,
Mhm.
right? You got another person in that weight class, Kara Leskurat. She's 11-0 or 16-0, excuse me, 16-0. Or is it 11?
Eleven.
It's 11. There it goes. Sometimes it's chicken scratch. But there you go. So, I mean, if you had it your way, dream fight, path forward, what would it be for you to get to that title shot? And with who?
So the first, I mean, I'm not gonna have more than two fights in 2025 without a title shot. So if there's this one, and God willing, I put on even better performance than anticipated, I'm sure that my team will put me in a world title shot after that. If not, I'll get one more and then a title shot. But 2025, there will be a strap around my waist. Um, and I would love to take first Clara Lescurat from Argentina. She cherry picks real bad, and um she skipped over me like three times when it comes to fighting people to defend her title. So I take that a little more like personal, where it's like you're not even going to give me a shot and you're just kind of holding on to that. And I'm working my ass off here for it. So I would love to take the title off her hands first. But I'm just being avoided, to be honest, when it comes to these champions and these kind of fights. But I also know that politics play a big role in this as well. So my team, they're making the best business moves for me. So what I really do is I just try to do my job and prepare for whoever they put in front of me. And if I had it my way in January, I'd be fighting for a world title. But I just got to keep doing what I'm doing and keep working hard to get me there.
Yeah, let's get that strap back to Allentown to the Lehigh Valley for sure. We need that. Really quick, my guy Cornflake just told me because he's in my inbox saying, "Bro, this girl can fucking fight." So shout out to my guy Cornflake,
Hi,
my boy Charles.
Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas Lamana. So there you go. But I don't want to hold you up too much more. Anything you think we should know, be aware of, or just any message you want to send to the fans?
Um, that the I want everyone to know my opponents. I have always picked opponents that are ranked above me. And again, if we lived in a perfect world and I can pick my next opponent, I'd be having a girl who's 13-1 for dinner on January 18th out in Philly. So just know that's who I'm cooking up next and that's who I'm going for. And I don't want anything easy. I'm here for the challenge and just be on the lookout because I'm definitely taking this whole boxing shit over.
Let's go. Let's go. Keep putting on, Leanna. It was definitely a pleasure talking to you, and we're gonna be in contact 100. I'll hit you in the DM and we'll figure something out down the line.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Leanna.
Thank you.